Hey, friends and enemies. This is Lou Kozlevcha, and this is going to be the third last podcast that I do here. Yeah, unfortunately, I have decided that I'd like to end this podcast. I'm not going to say for good because never say never. If I do revive this podcast again, it's going to be very different. So let's jump right into what this is going to be about. I am going to be answering some questions that my audience have asked me. And so these questions are to do with organic versus paid and budgets. And budget is one of the most commonly asked things that I get asked about. And I just want to start out by saying that there's really no one size fits all. But I'll come back to that a little bit later. So I'd like to thank the wonderful people who submitted questions, and I'm really excited to get stuck in and answer these. So the first question is from DK Jonah on Threads. DK has asked, for someone new with little funds, organic versus paid ads? Right, so should you pick organic or paid ads as your strategy if you're new and you've got little funds? Generally speaking, I'm going to side with organic, and I'll tell you why. That's because, especially on social media, the success of your organic strategy should be used as the backbone of your paid strategy, right? So what do I mean by this? Well, you have to look at the reason why people are on social media in the first place. People usually log on to Facebook or especially Instagram to catch up with their friends and to be amused by funny videos, stuff like that. And the content that typically does well as paid or organic is that content that entertains or teaches the audience something new that matters to them. And tying that to my own strategy and to what I'm doing, it is important for me to not just like spout information that I think is interesting. Like, it has to be tied back to something that the audience member that you're targeting, like something that they struggle with or something that they want to achieve in their own terms. So like for me, I've got like I've been in the digital website and digital marketing industry since 2011. I've got so much knowledge, and my knowledge is valuable to the right people, and it also needs to be expressed in the right way. And so having said that, when it comes to like creating content for social media, the stuff that does well overall is the content that resembles natural feeling content that you would see as if somebody was just sharing something with their friends. And I'm not saying that like every audience member has to be your friend or your family member, but the stuff that they're going to like the most is the stuff that they went there to see. So if you can nail that sort of strategy, that sort of flavor in your organic content, then what you do is use the best of that to inform what sort of content you should create for your ads, especially those top of funnel awareness ads where people are just getting to know you and getting familiar with you. When it comes to creating ads that are more focused on getting the sale, first of all, you want to target those ads at people who are already in your audience and already invested in knowing you. Those sales ads can be more like ads. But for the purpose of just getting yourself out there, getting known to people, building that relationship with them, the type of content that you ought to be making is content that is like the other natural organic people out there that's just made by regular people. In some spheres, this is called ugly content. And that also doesn't mean that you should go out of your way to make your content look like rubbish. I just mean do it as naturally as you can, like as if you're having a conversation with your audience, as if you're hanging out with them, as if they're part of your circle. I find that if you've got limited funds and you'd like to try and use ads and you don't have a lot of feedback or data from your audience, you are going to be spending your ads budget mainly on just trial and error and figuring out what people like and don't like. And so there's going to be like very limited success in your audience reach and your sales if you're just using your ads budget to test things out, assuming that you know nothing about your audience and what resonates with them. So if you're new and you're concerned about making the most of what money that you have, then the focus should be, on figuring out what resonates with your audience. And you may have to potentially, if you don't know what to make, you may have to do some research, do interviews, like do surveys, invite audience members to privately do interviews with them. Maybe you could do like a 30-minute interview in exchange for you just offering 30 minutes of your time to help them out with a problem. I'm not really the best person to go to when it comes to like audience research, but that's generally what you got to do. If you know nothing about your audience, you won't know what sort of content to make, so you're going to have to do research. The next question is from Shuvo, who asked this via LinkedIn, and it is very similar to DK's question. It would be insightful to discuss the balance between paid ads and organic strategies, especially in 2024. And just to reiterate what I said before, the strategy should be to create your organic content, and then you're not spending money on it. So just put that out there, see what resonates with your audience, and then use the most successful pieces of organic content to inform what your ad should be. Like you might even want to, if an organic post does really well, you might even just want to reuse that post and turn it into an ad to get more audience awareness. So that's what my advice would be. That's what my strategy would be when using them both. On a follow-on question to Shuvas, which is, how can small business owners optimize their ad spend when they're going up against bigger brands who are already in the space? Yeah, I know this one, and this is one that I do hear occasionally. So yeah, coming back to what I said about making your content like really natural, making it as if it is essentially like emulating the stuff that people went to the platform to see, and do it in a way that is authentic and unique to you. Do it in a way that creates resonance with your audience, and that is not going to put more money in your bank account overnight. But generally speaking, the audience members who like really feel that connection with you and have grown that over time are likely to be your most loyal customers. So figure out what their likes are, how you can create content that resonates, that appeals to them, that really feels like you get them. That is what's going to stand out from all the noise. That's what's going to stand out from all the ads that look like ads, because nobody's going on Instagram or Facebook just to look at ads. All right. So I hope that helped you out. The next question that I'm going to answer is from Meredith. And Meredith wants to know about setting a budget for an evergreen funnel. So what's a good budget and what's a good conversion rate to strive for? So for a bit of context, Meredith is talking about a funnel in the sense of, not in the sense of a marketing funnel where you go from awareness, nurture and convert. In this case, the funnel is referring to a opt-in or some kind of low ticket offer that someone's going into and then being nurtured that way into becoming a paying customer. So I'm going to start with the conversion rate. The conversion rate to strive for is 5% or better. That's assuming this is a free opt-in, that you're sending people to a page and they've got to put in their email address and then they go on to a nurture email sequence that teaches something or alleviates a problem for them with your email sequence. Aim for 5% or better. If it's like, if the conversion rate organically of that opt-in is like under 2%, then no, don't, no. I may have said in other podcast episodes that like 2% is a good conversion rate, but that is for e-commerce websites, so shopping websites where people go and browse and get stuff delivered to their house. When it comes to, say, something that's more like lead generation, 5% is like your benchmark. 10% is awesome. If your conversion rate, whether that's an opt-in to a sequence or like leads submitting a form to make an inquiry, if it's like under 1%, you may have a problem with the offer and the page that you're sending people to. And I would definitely not recommend sending ads to that website or that page if it's below 1%. So 5% is the conversion rate. Now, budgets, there's really no one size fits all here. The way to figure out your budget, like if you have no idea and want to find out if it's worthwhile for your business, you're going to have to look at the value of each individual paying customer. Look at the value of your average paying customer. So the average of that, and then take steps backwards through your sales process. So find out of all those people who like came to you through that opt-in and then moved on further and moved on further, you're going to have to like essentially study those numbers and then break down, okay, like what percentage of the people who made through 1, 2, 3 to become a paying customer, and then use the average value of someone, how much someone spends with you, and then break that back down until you get like a value of what you'd say you'd be comfortable paying to get a lead in your email list. Like that's a kind of a real spaghetti way of explaining it. So to put it more simply, you're going to have to like study your sales numbers and then figure out what makes sense for you in terms of the average value or the lifetime value that a paying customer generates for you. Just as like a very general thing, if it costs you like $2 in acquisition, which is the amount of money taken out of your ads to get someone onto your mailing list, like that's a good one to aim for. So like, I'm sorry, I can't really give like a blanket statement, like one size fits all answer, because this really depends on like the volume of people that you're moving through your business and the cost, the value the average person brings in. You're going to have to like break those numbers down into what makes sense for you. without like knowing what profit means to you and what your goals are, I can't really give a more straightforward answer than that. All right, so those are the questions and answers that I have for this episode. This is the third last one. In the next episode, I'm going to be answering some questions about whether or not you should outsource your paid ads management and what's involved and what that means, whether or not it's a good idea for you. And the episode after that one, the final episode, is going to be another guest episode where I talk with Brandy about effective copywriting. So thank you so much for tuning in. It's been great having you around, and I look forward to chatting in the next episode.